What is going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice. Guys, the Colts made another outside free agent signing, and it certainly isn't the one that a lot of people were expecting, and a lot of people are not very happy with it. A lot of other people are also kind of happy about it. The Indianapolis Colts have signed quarterback Joe Flacco, and he will now back up Anthony Richardson this next season. It was a one-year deal worth up to $8.7 million, including $4.5 million guaranteed. Now, 8.7 is not exactly the number that will 100% be true. A lot of it is probably going to be incentivized that gets involved there. But I mean, it definitely will be probably be just north of 5 million, which is about similar to what you were paying last year. But let's go ahead, guys, kind of break this down into what are the pros and the cons to this move being made, right? Well, Joe Flacco was NFL Comeback Player of the Year, right? He is a very seasoned player. So this is a guy that has a ton of experience in the NFL, right? He is a very big veteran, and there's very few people left in the NFL at quarterback that you would rather have Anthony Richardson learn from than this guy right here. Joe Flacco very much is a very smart, very valuable quarterback for that exact reason. Now, I will also say, as far as a positive goes, we did see a lot of Joe Flacco last year for the Cleveland Browns when Deshaun Watson went down. And we saw just what he was able to do with the Cleveland Browns roster and their offense and everything else. Again, I know he's going to be 39, and I know he's old. And that's definitely something that we're not making a long-term commitment to this. But there, up until that Texans game in the playoffs, he was playing at a very good level. He's playing at a very good level. I would argue was playing better than Gardner Minshew at most points last season for the Indianapolis Colts. So Joe Flacco, I think, is a guy that is an insanely smart player. And if you needed him to step in at any point, I would feel more confident in Joe Flacco having the ball in his hands than Gardner Minshew. That's just me personally. And I think most people would agree with that. And we're not talking about this guy being the starting quarterback going forward. We're talking about him being the backup. And I think the main reason why people don't like this is because mainly due to the fact that we're just waiting for this news of a secondary player to, come into the reins, right? And we see anything other than that, and then people are extremely pissed off at the signing. Whereas, again, I'm sitting here saying I don't mind this signing. I think Joe Flacco provides a lot of knowledge that Anthony Richardson and maybe even Shane Steichen may not potentially be able to give you. That is a great thing to have in your locker room, as somebody that understands the game, being a role model for Anthony Richardson. I think that's great. Now, obviously, from a cons perspective, it depends on how much money is actually all in on the contract. We know it's going to be worth at least $4.5 million, but how much left of it is incentivized? How much more of it is going to get brought into the cap hit? Me personally, I would have preferred Indianapolis to go for a less expensive option, aka you could have drafted one in the draft a lot later and would have cost you much less money. But again, that also goes back to the pro that I said of Joe Flacco, where Joe Flacco understands the game better. Seriously. So it will be one of those situations. I think that Shane Steichen was looking at that and saying Joe Flacco provides a certain knowledge that is important for the development of Anthony Richardson for this next year. And this is where we want to go with this direction. Again, this is not groundbreaking. This is not going to destroy or this is not going to destroy the cap. This is not going to ruin the Colts' chances for anything. I just look at it and say the Indianapolis Colts got a older quarterback, but he is a qualified backup for the Indianapolis Colts. So I don't love the move, but I don't hate it. So that's going to do it for this one. But let me know your guys' thoughts on this move. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And as always, go Colts.